This story may be graphic or disturbing to hear. This is a work of fiction written by me. Hey, Adam, are you ready yet? Adam, a skinny yet tall Caucasian man, turned and faced the group of 3 that had been waiting on him. He gave a lopsided smile and slung his large pack on his shoulders and clipped the bag onto his shoulders and around his waist. "Sorry, Neil," he called out. The familiar weight of his backpack settled over his broad shoulders, and he started heading towards the 3 others that were a few yards away and standing in front of the bridge that led to the trail. When he caught up with his friends, Adam looked them over. They were all wearing their large packs, equally as packed as his, with provisions, gear, and other tools they would need to hike this long trail. They had on thick, puffy winter jackets and knitted wool caps, and they each had 2 layers of pants on. Ice picks hung from their backpacks, and they had crampons attached to their thick boots. Neil, a younger, charismatic, more fit and muscled Samoan man, had an expectant look on his face. "Sloth strikes again," Talia, a cheerful and optimistic Israeli woman, stated, a bright and teasing grin on her face. Lorenzo, a cynical and sarcastic Italian man, rolled his eyes and shook his head. "Come on, you slackers, let's get going. I want to head out as soon as possible," Lorenzo said, abruptly turning and heading out onto the trail. Unfazed by his attitude, the other 3 friends all shrugged and followed after him. Several hours down the trail that's over 2,000 miles long, the group sees that the sun is getting low. Altogether, they walked just a bit off the trail to the shade of some nearby trees to set up camp, but made sure to keep the trail within eye line. It didn't take the group long to set up their campsite, and soon they were sitting around a small campfire eating some of their provisions. After a little bit, while the sun was still out but the light was fading very fast, Talia noticed some footprints at the corner of her eye. Furrowing her thin brow, the young woman stood up, drawing the attention of her companions. Puzzled by her sudden behavior, her friends all looked at her with interest. "What's wrong?" Adam asked, standing up as well. Neil and Lorenzo just turned in their spots, not standing up. Talia turned back to her friends as she stood just a little ways into the forest their camp was on the edge of. "There's footprints, and they look relatively fresh," she said, a frown on her face. "So? Some other hikers probably set up camp further in the forest," Lorenzo sighed out, turning away, disinterested. "No, these footprints aren't shoe prints. They were made with bare feet, and they're small, like a child's print," Talia reiterated. Neil, who had a young child of his own, was immediately concerned, and he stood up, heading over with Adam to investigate the prints. When the 2 men got over to the female friend, they peered down at the slightly muddy ground. Sure enough, there were small, barefooted prints leading further into the forest. "These prints don't look more than a few days old. They also look a little more spread out, like they'd been running into the forest," Neil said, pointing at the prints. Talia immediately feels her stomach drop, and behind her she barely acknowledges when Lorenzo stands up and makes his way over to the group. "We have to make sure this child isn't here," she pressed, hoping her friends would agree. Neil and Adam immediately agreed, and while Lorenzo was hesitant at first, he agreed to help search for the child as well. With the sun setting fast, the group rushed to grab their flashlights, and they set off, following the prints into the forest. They had all been walking for several minutes, calling out every once in a while for the unknown child, hoping they could get them to come out if they were close by. Lorenzo was shining his light through the trees when the beam darted over a light blue surface. He stopped for a second, before placing his light back over where the flash of color had come from. His heart lifted for a second. What he was seeing was a light blue tarp that was spread between 2 trees, acting like a makeshift tent. "Hey guys, over here," Lorenzo called, the leaves crunching under his heavy boots as he made his way over to the tarp. Moments later, Lorenzo heard the telltale footsteps of his friends following behind them as they all came to the makeshift tent. The sun had already gone down when they got to the tarp, which had been a few yards away. As the group came up to the tarp, they all realized this small area seemed to be some sort of little camp. Lorenzo walked the perimeter of the camp, looking for some sort of sign of the child. Neil was crouched by some of the footprints, trying to see if they led anywhere else, while Adam and Talia were both looking into the tent. The tarp was tied between the two trees to create a roof to supposedly protect against the rain, and one side of the tarp curled underneath the top, making a sort of floor. Leaves were piled up inside of the tent, and they looked as though they'd been trampled or stepped on. A small, slightly rusted knife was laying on the tent floor as well, and a piece of wood that was crudely carved into a sort of bowl was sitting next to the knife. A pair of ripped up and torn child's pink sneakers were sitting in the tent right next to a small journal with a pen. Hesitantly, Talia reached into the tent and grabbed the notebook, opening it before she began to read the contents. Adam hovered over her shoulder and read alongside her. As the two read on, they were shocked at the contents of the journal and called out to their friends. Lorenzo and Neil both came over and took the book from Talia, who was now holding a hand to her mouth and fighting back tears. Concerned, the two looked down at the book in their hands and read the slightly faded scribbles on the paper. May 8th. Mama told me I should keep a journal. She did it when she was little like me. She told me to talk to the journal about things I didn't want to talk to her about, and that whenever I was older, I could look back on my life. So, here goes. My name is Jenna Stone, and right now, I'm 8 years old. I live with my mama in Salem, Oregon. My mama told me that my daddy had to leave when I was younger for some very important saving the world business, but Jimmy said that my daddy didn't want me and left me and my mama. I don't like Jimmy. He's not very nice. Jimmy pulls my hair in class and says a lot of mean things to me. June 25th. Mama is really sick. She's coughing up red stuff. I think it's blood. One time I hurt myself and my mama bandaged my knee and she said I was bleeding. They look the same, although Mama's blood is darker. I hope Mama is going to be okay. Auntie looks really worried and they won't tell me why Mama is sick. I hope Mama's going to be okay. January 11th. Wow. It's been a few years since I've written in this journal. I'm 13 now. My mom didn't get any better. I live with my aunt now. She's nice and she likes hiking a lot. She takes me with her, but we don't hike for very long because I get tired easily. My aunt says I'll get used to it if I want to keep hiking with her. I like it, so I'll hike as long as I can until I get tired and we take a break for a while before we head back. I'm going to be starting high school in a couple years and I'm pretty excited. I want to be an author, like my mom. She always told the best stories. April 18th. My aunt told me she thinks I'm ready to go on the trail with her. I'm so excited. We're packing up tonight and heading out early tomorrow morning to get there. My aunt said the trail takes several months to walk it and that it can be dangerous, but my aunt's been doing this for years and she's been teaching me how to survive out in the woods. This is gonna be so much fun. She pulled me out of school for this and I can't wait for it to happen. April 26th. We've been walking this trail for several days now and it's definitely been fun. It's a bit creepy at night though. I keep feeling like something's watching me. My aunt tells me it's just the squirrels. Maybe she's right. April 30th. Something came into our campsite last night. I hid in my tent and prayed my aunt would be okay. I could hear footsteps and grunting all night. I wonder if it was a bear. When I woke up and looked out into our camp, all our stuff had been tossed aside and thrown about. My aunt was fine, just confused. I told her about it, but she just said it was a bear and I was right to have not left my tent. We still have a ways to go, so we have to continue on, though most of our food has been eaten by the bear. May 5th. The bear came back. I heard my aunt scream. I was too scared to move. The screaming stopped. I waited for a long time, and then I peeked out of my tent. I'm still horrified by what I saw. My aunt's tent was shredded. Blood soaked the cotton fabric of the tent. I didn't want to see her body, but I had to see if she was still alive. She wasn't. I must have cried for hours. But without my aunt, how am I going to finish the trail? I don't really know where I'm going. May 30th. I think the bear's been following me. I can't get it to go away. It just won't leave me alone. I don't have any more food, and I lost the trail. I'm so cold. The journal entry stopped, and instead, there was a letter written, "To whom it may concern." I'm too weak to move now. I've been eating berries for a long time. They don't taste too good. I thought I found the trail, but then the bear chased me into the woods. I hid from it in my little camp. I hid in the branches. I'm stuck in the tree now. The bear is still down there, watching me. It's hungry. The writing was shaky now, and a small splatter of blood covered the journal. Tell my friends I love them. I don't have any other family. My mom has been dead, and my aunt died on this trip. It's not a bear. 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 Its red eyes are watching me. It's so hungry. I'm not living through the night. The group of friends sat back, horrified at what they just read. Talia was full on crying now, and Neil could only rub her back gently, speechless. The sound of a branch snapping made them all jump, and they shone their flashlights into the dark woods. They couldn't see anything, but then they heard grunting sounds coming from behind them. Everybody felt their hearts drop as dread settled in their stomachs. Slowly, the friends all turned around. 2 red eyes were watching them from the tree line, directly in their path to get back to their campsite. I hope you all enjoyed the reading of one of my very first short stories. I have plenty more where that came from, so if you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe if you would like to hear more. Thank you and have a wonderful day.